With Bitcoin prices at the lowest they have been in 2 years, most investors remain steadfast with the crypto and have refused to sell their assets, which they believe will gain tremendous value in the future. Bitcoin investor Max Keiser shares similar views and believes that Bitcoin could be worth a fortune in the future. Stick around to the end of this video to hear Max Keiser's analysis in an interview he did recently. During the first half of 2022, the rest of the world witnessed a sovereign nation embracing Bitcoin as a legal currency. El Salvador is the first nation in the world to officially acknowledge Bitcoin as a form of currency through a government-issued decree. As Bitcoin-facilitated improvements continue to reshape the economy, their belief in Bitcoin grows. Both the longtime advocates of Bitcoin, Max Keiser, and his wife, Stacy Herbert, have expressed their admiration for El Salvador's open-minded attitude toward cryptocurrency. They have also expressed their optimism that the nation's security law will be significantly more effective than the bill that Senators Lummis and Gillibrand presented. Max Keiser is well known in the cryptocurrency community for predicting unexpectedly high Bitcoin prices. In the past, he had increased his price target for Bitcoin from $100,000 to $400,000. However, he did not specify a timeline for reaching this goal. A year ago, Keiser predicted that Bitcoin would conclude 2020 at roughly $28,000 a coin, which has since been proven accurate. That cryptocurrency concluded the year 2020 at $29,000 per coin, putting Keiser's forecast as the most precise among crypto specialists. In the past, Keiser has voiced his disapproval of international bankers and referred to their practice as a fiat Ponzi scheme. Take a listen to Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert's conversation from a few weeks ago.
An analogy, a way of looking at the world, what we have seen for the past 40 years. So for the past 40 years, we've had a bond bull market. Interest rates have been going down, down, down. And this has encouraged in this all fiat global dollar system since 1971, what it has encouraged is high time preference, because you could always throw your bad debts into the future. You could always roll over your debt and have some next generation, somebody not yet born, pay the cost for it. So when we had some floods here with a tropical storm Bonnie in El Salvador, what was found was that some manufacturers of clothing dye, they poured a bunch of toxic waste into the river. And what the president had tweeted about it was he said that they consider us their garbage dump, like their dumping ground. And the thing that stood out, and you could see the video there of the water all red and toxic, is that you and I, the week before, had spent the day in Apopa under a bridge which connects the San Francisco and Los Angeles communities with a bunch of young people who were cleaning up the trash in the river, along the riverbanks, that had been deposited over the previous 40 years by that same generation with the high time preference, where you could always throw your trash, whether it's your trash economics, your trash financial products, or your trash, literally your trash, into the environment, into the economy of the next generation. So here's a little clip just so you see, like, look at these young people cleaning up that same exact river system. It's not the same exact river or stream there, but close by, is that here they are cleaning up. And a week later, some boomers throw trash, toxic waste into that same river that these young people, who are the future, had spent cleaning.
Come on, boomers. Stop being disgusting pigs. Yeah, it's terrible. And the new generation coming up, they have to work extra hard to make any progress, because you still have the boomers that have that old mentality, as you say, whether it's throwing toxic risk into the marketplace with bonds that are now collapsing, or actually throwing real garbage into the rivers. which is another form of pollution. It's all pollution, and the boomers essentially thrive on pollution. Now this new generation, this Bitcoin generation here in El Salvador, they understand the pristine collateral that is Bitcoin, and they reject the idea of fouling the environment for a quick penny. They understand the long-term value of it and its relationship to their overall well-being. And I think that the tide is turning. The rivers are flowing differently, and the Bitcoin ethos is permeating.
It doesn't even matter if it has happened yet. What will happen is that Bitcoin does that to you. You and I have been in Bitcoin for 11 years, and it slowly happened over that time, that the time preference lowers. And what that means is that you start to value the time, like that you price in the future, right? Instead of high time preference, where you don't give any value to time, you just like consume as fast as possible. And in fact, what bonds and interest rates declining for 40 years has done is that you think that you can get away with having no cost. Like you could steal the future. You could steal the time and the value and the work of the future. Like what our system of fiat fraud meets ever declining interest rates and intervention by the central banks has allowed a generation to plunder the future. And that changed their mindset. That lowered their morals. Whereas what Bitcoin will do, and by the way, Bitcoin came at the right time. It came at 2009 during a financial crisis when the worst of this plunder began, when the money printing ratcheted up. And it doesn't even matter, like that system is over, that system of plunder, and where you could just keep on rolling over all your risk, all your debt, all your toxins, all your waste into the future and stealing from the future, that was over anyway. Luckily, we have Bitcoin that was invented and birthed in 2009.
Why do you hold on to your Bitcoin? Because you understand that it has future value and it can't be inflated away by the money printers. And when I talk to people here in El Salvador, and they have maybe 10 or 15 or $20 on their Chivo wallet, they're quite proud of it. They're like, I'm saving this for the future because I know in the future the purchasing power of Bitcoin will be where it is or greater, no doubt much greater. Whereas the fiat money world, they just dump all their toxic sludge into the river. They spend it right now on trinkets and garbage, and they have fiat lives, and they live fiat lives, and they're gonna die fiat lives in a fiat grave, singing songs of fiat misery. We won't begrudge their departing. They are no longer welcome here. The entire fiat generation, be gone!
It was the structure and the incentive model of that system that caused that. The baby boomers became the greediest generation and the most selfish generation because of the money system under which they operated. So once the US went off the gold standard in 1971, it was all fiat, and they could think that there was no cost, that they could get free lunch, that they could have free energy, abundant free energy, that they could defer costs, that they could dump their costs onto future generations, because it did seem like it worked for 50 years. It kept working, right? House prices kept going up, your job kept getting better, and you had to work less and less. Literally nobody works in America anymore, but they're never been wealthier. They say, right? The Fed says you've never been wealthier because your house price is at all-time highs. You don't have to work. So it seemed like it worked, but what it was doing was it was degrading your morals and the entire system, not just the environment as we saw in that video when it's treated as a dumping ground. The future is treated as a dumping ground in a fiat system. In a proof of stake system, it is always going to be a dumping ground simply because those with the most wealth, those who control the flow of that river of money, they get the money first. That's what the Cantillon effect is, by the way. The Cantillon effect is what we see around the world, is that those who are closest to the source of new money, which is the New York Fed, in America, that's the source of free money, and then say the European Central Bank or the Bank of Japan, but the cleanest, freshest, pristine, fresh water of money comes from the New York Fed. They get it for free, and then by the time it rolls out to not only future generations, but other parts of the world, whether it's Latin America or Asia or Sri Lanka or Africa, it's filled with toxic waste of risk, bad debts, of bad economics, of no work, no labor, and sloth.
Right, paper money has a lot of problems in terms of it being inflated away, the purchasing power being destroyed, and the quintillion-aire effect as you described it. Gold, because it's traded by weight, it has some advantages over fiat money because somebody can say this is an ounce of gold. I can weigh it and it's an ounce and I know it's an ounce. But of course over history there's been problems with fake gold and it's got costs associated with it in transporting and insuring the gold. Then Bitcoin comes around and it's a whole new paradigm. It's validated by itself through the work of encryption and mathematics that's perfect and confiscatable behind an unpenetrable wall of encryption, which is superior to gold and obviously superior to fiat. So it appeals to the psyche and appeals to the emotion, or it appeals to the human wellness that would be incumbent on us as humans as part of nature. And this is why this generation is so excited to be part of it. I'm staring into space because I'm channeling the words of Satoshi himself. I am the bishop of Bitcoin. I am Satoshi's representative here on Earth. If you see me staring into space, it's because I'm actually chanting the thoughts and words of Satoshi.
But I also wanted to point out that one word that you didn't mention there was trustless. Bitcoin is trustless. You don't need a trusted intermediary like you do in the fiat system, and that is what enables the fraud. As we mentioned in the previous episode, Bastiat has proved and pointed out long ago in 1850 that man, by nature, we seek to plunder. We'd rather plunder than have to work hard out in the fields and build wealth, right? So that is the point about Bitcoin is it's trustless. Gold is not trustless because you need to trust that whoever's selling you that is not selling you a bar of tungsten. They're not trading you tungsten for your cow. And you need a lot of equipment to trust that. Bitcoin, you don't need to do that. The settlement is the trust.
Perfectly said. It solves for trust. The trust is built in, and the settlement is in the transaction. So that removes that's what's great about El Salvador. They don't have to go around checking everybody's bag to make sure they got the right fiat or the gold bar. It's already in the system. The president can do other stuff, and he's doing other stuff.
What did you think of Max Keiser's insights? Are you as bullish as he is when it comes to Bitcoin? Give us your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, kindly like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.